In early January, the Social Security Fairness Act was signed into law. There's been a lot of conversation about the ethics of the bill, its present-day impact, and its long-term consequences. In this video, we'll look at who the act benefits, who it harms, and the ripple effects it may have on the Social Security system over the next decade. Now, we could spend a long time going over the many facets of this bill, but let's distill it down to its most important parts. The act was passed to undo two reforms from the 1980s, the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset. Now, these were originally passed as cost-saving reforms to save Social Security from imminent insolvency in 1983. Both provisions reduced Social Security benefits for certain retirees. The WEP lowers benefits for individuals who receive non-Social Security covered pensions, while the GPO reduces benefits for spouses, ex-spouses, and survivors who receive pensions from non-Social Security covered work. The act retroactively applies the benefits payable after December 2023. As it stands now, the SSA is still evaluating how to implement and fund this new legislation. This is a big point of contention right now, and we'll come back to this later in the video. So who does this act benefit and how? The repeal of the WEP will help over 2 million people. These are retirees who worked in both public and private jobs. Before, their Social Security benefits were reduced because they also received a public pension. Now, they'll get an average of $360 more per month or $4,320 each year. The repeal of the GPO will also have a massive impact. The provision reduced or took away spousal and survivor benefits for those whose partners worked in jobs covered by Social Security. It also disproportionately affected women by a ratio of more than 4-to-1. Now, about 400,000 people who qualify for spousal benefits will get an average of $700 more per month or $8,400 per year. Also, nearly 200,000 widows and widowers will get an extra $1,190 per month or $14,280 a year. As we said earlier, changes will go back to December 31st, 2023. If your benefits were reduced because of the WEP or the GPO, you are in line to get a lump sum payment for the amount you missed starting January 1st, 2024, until the SSA implements the increase in monthly benefits, which is expected sometime in 2025. If you're already getting Social Security, the SSA will automatically adjust your payments. If you haven't applied yet and think you qualify, you can apply online or at your local SSA office. And I want to make this important distinction. If you had the chance to file for Social Security but didn't because the GPO would have reduced your benefit to zero, I would encourage you to apply now. In this case, we don't know if you'll get retroactive benefits back to the beginning of 2024, like those who have already filed, but there is a good chance you'll at least get 6 months of retroactive benefits as per normal filing rules. This can be a complicated process, so reach out to us if you want to walk through your unique situation. Legislation like this almost always comes with trade-offs, and this act is no exception. For individuals receiving increased income due to this legislation, the additional Social Security benefits may result in higher taxes. While more income is obviously a good thing, it's important to understand how this increase could affect taxes on other income sources. For instance, if your income was previously below the taxable threshold for Social Security, this increase could now make part of your benefits taxable. Similarly, for a single filer receiving a significant boost in Social Security, the additional income could push them out of the tax-free capital gains bracket, creating adverse tax implications on dividends and capital gains that previously weren't a concern. If you'd like to learn more about how this works, check out my recent video on dividends where we break down capital gains brackets. Another impact area is Medicare premiums. Medicare costs are income-based, and higher gross income can result in increased premiums under the Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount rules, or IRMA. Both Medicare Part B and Part D premiums are affected, and these increases are particularly unforgiving. Exceeding an IRMA threshold by even $1 will raise your premiums the entire year. Additionally, Medicare uses tax returns from 2 years prior to calculate current premiums, meaning your 2023 income will determine your 2025 premiums. While higher income is generally beneficial, retirees should be mindful of the compounding impact of Medicare costs, which tend to rise faster than Social Security income, potentially affecting long-term retirement plans. Even with these considerations, we don't see higher taxes and Medicare premiums outweighing the benefits of this increased income for impacted retirees and couples. But remember earlier when we said that there's not yet a funding mechanism in place for these changes? This could be extremely detrimental over the long term, and here's why. The Social Security Trust Fund, already projected to be exhausted by 2033, is now estimated by the Congressional Budget Office to deplete 6 months earlier due to this legislation. This accelerates the need for Congress to address Social Security's solvency sooner than expected. When the trust fund runs out, current projections indicate that Social Security will only be able to pay about 80% of promised benefits. Congress has been at a stalemate on this issue for years. The primary option to prevent benefit reductions include raising payroll taxes or increasing the normal retirement age for younger generations. These changes would likely impact Gen X and younger workers, resulting in higher FICA taxes and delayed retirement eligibility. These issues have been looming for decades, and the Social Security Fairness Act may force expedited decisions that should have been addressed long ago. To check on new updates to the Social Security Fairness Act, click the link in the description to visit SSA's dedicated page. It is updated regularly. We've also added a link to their calculator where you can get an estimate of what your new Social Security payment would be. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.